What is up, everybody? Looks like we have a few minutes still. We're just gonna soft start it and soft open. Perfect. Oh my goodness. It has been a week, guys. And it's only Tuesday. Caleb, welcome, sir. Guys, it's definitely been a little bit of a week, but it's been good. It has been good. Caleb, did you bring your food?
I brought honey bunches of oats because that's what I wanted. And I've got the shakes.
How are you doing, man? What's new with you? That's why my mom said I had piano hands. Dude, I just threw my burger in the air fryer and toasted the buns a little bit. So good. How was your day, man? What's new with you? I was working a little bit more on the full length song that I'm trying to get out soon. And I was talking to the guys yesterday. And I was like, yeah, I have like 30 layers of vocals to do. And they're like, 30 layers? I was like, yeah. I think I'm at 10. I got done today, but I have to retake one, a main vocal line, then start stacking the vocals underneath that one. And yeah, but I'll send you a sneak peek as always. Dude, I feel that. But thank God we can work. Thank God we can eat food. Thank God for air fryers as well. Because, like, this thing, that just looks so good. And it's got that avocado ranch on there. So good. Mm-hmm. 1,000%, man. Almost anything is better when you air fry it. Even down to a PB&J. Once you make it and you're just like, once you've made your sandwich, you just lightly toast it in the air fryer, and it keeps the center so soft and the outside just crisp enough. It's so good.
They're
Bro,
also-
do you have ranch? He says he doesn't have any barbecue sauce for his tenders.
Ranch.
Barbecue sauce is the way to go.
There also may be a brief interruption sometime during this broadcast.
So Case is no, he doesn't have ranch. Do you have peanut?
No!
Bro, you're gonna think I'm crazy. Warm up a little thing of peanut butter. It is one of the best things ever. I went down to Salem, Missouri, and had peanut chicken, where they take like peanuts and peanut butter and melt it down to the great sauce, and they cover the chicken in it. It is one of the best things I've ever had. Have you ever done that before? Don't listen to her. Either creamy or crunchy, and you can melt it down or melt it and put it off to the side so you can dip it. See if you like it or not. It's so good, man. Also, have you gotten email confirmation about your shirts? Because I want to make sure that you got that email. Don't mind us. We're totally eating dinner right now.
And waiting for the brownies.
And listening to our neighbor. I totally thought somebody or something was in there, and then I heard the movement up there. I was like, oh. Perfect. So it's not the topic for tonight, but after watching a few videos, I think feminism is officially dead. Like the new wave. So there's videos popping up of the women saying how they don't like being out and about and having to work and stuff. They'd rather be at home. And then there's more videos popping up where one video Tim Pool just launched today. He was saying how this NBA star found his wife on OnlyFans, and it's like, oh, bro. I'm sitting thinking, I'm like, the feminism of what was yesterday was already dead, but I think just as a whole, it's dying out. What do you think, Caleb? Do you think feminism is alive and well, or do you think it's dying a slow, painful death?
I think it's a joke.
Well, that's cool. Not. Uh, Pfizer hid 79% of relevant fatality trial deaths from regulators in order to qualify for emergency use authorization. Pfizer delayed reporting vaccine associated deaths in clinical trials and failed to account for a large number of subjects who dropped out of the trial. Huh. Um, hmm. It's crazy. Caleb says it's dead. Stop beating a dead horse for money. And it's almost like we had a reason to be anti-jab. So I saw the fact check under the article title. I have no idea where the article is from, so I won't say it knowledgeably or confirming it. A friend of mine was sharing on his story how apparently some employees or Pfizer's employees were given a different vaccine than what was pushed out to the public. But I have no way to confirm that. So it's what I saw on this headline here on Facebook. It does have a fact check label underneath it, but I don't trust really the fact checkers because there's so much bias in it. You're not wrong, man. Dude, that was the other thing that was really janky. So when I was working around that time, I have a story I'll tell you. So when I was working at the hospital, I was working during the time when COVID came out. I was there when COVID made its debut in the theaters. And I remember when we were hearing about this, and it was still overseas, like it hadn't made it to the States yet. I was talking with several people. I was like, "Hey, what do you think about this?" And we talked about stuff. And then when it finally came stateside, everybody got really serious and really cautious. I have no idea what they're doing upstairs. There's some sort of moving going on. Sorry. Anyways, when it finally hit, there was like all this fear around it. Pretty much, man. I was sitting there and still working, but everybody was like really, really nervous. Like we were all just like very, very nervous about what is this? What's going to happen? And I remember seeing or hearing clips of Dr. Fauci talk and listening to Trump and different ones, and then just seeing the blatant corruption, watching Governor Cuomo stuff elderly people, elderly people's homes with COVID patients, stuff like that. He honestly should have gone to trial for murder. because that's what that was. That was just murder. But I remember when it finally broke out here, and dude, I still remember it. It's when I finally texted my pastor at the time. I'm like, hey, I'm not going to be at church for a while. Um, Whatever is going on is really really nasty, and my church was mostly old people. But I remember Caleb says the peanut butter sauce is good. Dude, you're welcome. Let me work on that thumbs up. There we are. I gotta give the American thumbs up, not the lazy thumbs up. American thumbs up. I remember turning around the corner and seeing like 4 5 different people working on a patient who could not maintain their airway well. It was the coof, and it was alpha strain. And I remember watching them. They were trying to get this person's oxygen up to where it could be, so they wouldn't crash. And I remember so many people were getting intubated, man. It wasn't like left, right, and center. I just remember that was the thing, is like if you were having trouble, then it was like intubate, until we learned intubation was causing more issues. But I was saying all that to say, when the vaccines started coming around and they were offering it to hospital staff and people first, there was still a lot of mistrust. I did not trust what was going on. I really didn't. I didn't trust the way things were going. Fauci had already lied multiple times, and I was like, I don't trust what's happening. Well, lo and behold, now that we're years down the line, and now now we know, because it's admitted about the myocarditis, where the myocardium, um, the heart muscle and whatnot, just swelling. I was getting confused it with pericarditis, but myocarditis, yeah, where people's hearts are swelling, or now they have damage to their lungs or damage to some other part of their body, because when they got their vaccine, they got really really sick and they didn't quite make it back. Again, I have some thoughts about that, man. So the hospital had the policy of, if you got your shots, you didn't have to wear a mask, because like you were theoretically immune. That's what we were told at first, was that you were immune from the virus. Theoretically. And so several people, they got the shot because by that time they had already been wearing the mask. We'd been wearing masks for months. And I remember. It's crazy. I remember it was nuts, because like there was still such a divide where people were like, yeah, I just went ahead and got it because I can't stand wearing a mask anymore. And some people would just walk into the rooms regardless, mask on, mask off, no hazard protection, nothing, because they were just like, you know what, I'm tired of this. I don't care. I just want it over. And we would have situations sometimes where staff would be sick with COVID, so we'd be short. And it is what it is now. Thank God the new strains are not nearly as bad as alpha strain. But like, I remember, man, there were so many nights where it's just like one room after the other, after the other, after the other. We would be helping a patient, but then everybody was getting COVID swabbed. And then, sure enough, so many of the people who they weren't symptomatic, uh, they would pop positive. But also, you have to remember those tests were not 100% accurate by any means. And so we'd be in a room, for 5, 10 minutes hooking people up. And I got frustrated because there was a lot of techs that would leave their patient door open, which was a huge no-no. That's HIPAA violation, but techs would do that. They'd leave the door open because people would get fussy and then be like, "I'm sorry, but we have to have the rooms closed for privacy." So I ended up being a bad guy a few times. But like, what was bad was people would leave people's doors open and then they pop positive for COVID. And it's like, what in the world? So now not only is that person, the person that helped them into the room exposed, now it's in the hallways. Now it's in the air for whoever to breathe. And I can't tell you how many times, dude, I was frustrated that people would have people's doors open or patients. Patients would open the doors to their rooms to see what was going on or whatnot. And those were wild times, man. So that's the thing is like, think if you are healthy, uh, you're healthy, um, you are doing your thing, but like one day you're just kind of you're running a low grade fever and you're like, oh, it's fall, it's winter, it's flu season, whatnot. You may not feel bad. Not everybody got the feeling of feeling hit like hit with a dump truck. Some people they felt okay. They felt kind of blah for a couple days and then they were fine. But the virus was still shedding. Part of that was part of that the media really did whip up into a frenzy to make people feel scared to go to their functions and stuff because again, fear is power. But like not all the signs and symptoms are the same for everybody. That's what's weird. That's why in the medical field you have to rule everything out. Um, you go, well, could it be this? Could it be this? Could it be this? Um, and you start taking away the options because when somebody says something like, I have stomach pain, a lot of things cause stomach pain. Could it be indigestion? Could it be that your blood vessels are rupturing? Could it be you have an ulcer? Could it be you have parasites? Could it be that it's referred pain and really there's something going on with your back, but you feel it in your stomach, or something going on with your head, but you feel it in your stomach? Um, could you have infection? Like, there's all these different things that you have to run tests for, and then you give it your best guess at the end of the day. When you diagnose, it's not always with 100% certainty. I don't diagnose as an EMT, doctors do. And generally, when they diagnose, it's because they've called a few specialists and a few other people, and then they come down to what it is or what they think it is. Yeah. I don't know, man. I can't say for those people because, like, I don't know. I just can't say. But, like, excuse me. I know there were false positives, there were false negatives. Um, I remember when I tested positive, I had to get cleared at first by a doc before I could go back to work. I think this was when I was working at the resale retail shop. And I had to get cleared by a doctor before I got back. And then I went to the doctor's office and I felt fine. I had like, I forget what the symptom was. It was like not quite headache. I forget what the symptom was, but it was just some random symptom. And they're like, hey, yeah, that's actually a sign. So you should probably go over to that side. It's like, oh, okay. So I went, got tested at a different facility, and bam, sure enough, I tested positive. Dude, it hit, but it lasted. For me, it caused a lot of brain fog. I couldn't remember how to do my job. Like I had to sit there and think about how to do my job when I worked at the resale retail shop. And then if I did any sort of manual labor, I was like pouring sweat. Like any kind of I part of my job was to grab pallets and make boxes for people and whatnot. And I'd grab a pallet and I'd make a box, and my shirt would be like wet and I'd be winded. Hmm. There was a lot of stuff that never got explained. There was a lot of stuff that I don't think the American people have ever been apologized to for. Um, COVID killed a lot of people, and honestly, man, I think that was the intent. Since it was gain of function research, I think that really was the intent. Um, the only issue is, I think about that. So a lot of the old generation died, right? A lot of them. That's a lot of traditions. That's a lot of stories. That's a lot of wisdom. That's a lot of experience that just left. And it just kind of reset the culture. But now the culture war is a little bit different because people are trying to go back more towards older fashioned values and less progressivism, because progressive has gone from meaning, equal rights and like we're thinking about the future and we want to have a positive impact on the environment and the world, to you will say my pronouns or be removed from your job, or if you say that I'm anything other than what I am, than what I say I am, then you're wrong and you should go to jail, while I go in the women's bathroom with your daughter while I'm still intact as a man. Like, that's kind of what has become the progressivism. And I see it, it really does leave a bad taste in people's mouth, because honestly, I don't care what you say you are. Like, God doesn't care what you say you are, as long as you come to him and ask for forgiveness, and you start following him and you let him change you into who he made you to be. The obedience. Like, God doesn't care if you come to him and you've been a drug lord or you've been whatever. Like, that doesn't matter. He still loves you. He still wants you. Um, COVID was weird, man. I remember wearing the gowns and the gloves and the masks and goggles and the doofy hats, transporting patients. And because you still had to transport them to whatever room that they had to go to. And so, like, get this, this was the crazy part. So say the person's on oxygen, right? Because normally your oxygen saturation's a little bit low, depending on what's going on. So they have oxygen tubing. They have a mask because they've been given a mask. You ask them, hey, can you please put your mask on and cover your nose and your mouth? And you make sure that it's fitting correctly. And then you go through the hall, you go up an elevator, go to their room. The whole time, sometimes they might be coughing or wheezing or whatnot, and you're in your gown clothes and you open up that door where there's a massive viral load because sometimes they've been in that room for hours and it all just goes out into the hallway and it's in the air. But then you have to close the door and then somebody else comes in gowned up, puts in a vent to sanitize the air. I forgot what we call them. We only had so many, and sometimes the ER waits would just stack, man. Sometimes they would just stack because you would have somebody come in for, you know, for leg pain, they get tested for COVID, bam, they tested positive. You'd have somebody else, they come in for, you know, headache or abdominal pain. And when you have something like headache or chest pain, you're like, okay, we've got to take care of this now and rule out stroke, rule out cardiac issues, all this stuff. And you're like, just go, go, go. But then it changes when they pop positive for COVID because now the procedures change. Now you have to get in there with a gown and stuff. You have to make sure the signs are flipped to say, hey, this person's a risk patient. It was a lot, man. It didn't help my memory issues, I'll say that. Honestly, I think working there is what caused a lot of my memory problems. But I'm so thankful that I got that opportunity. I really, really am. I still remember also that was the other crazy thing about that time was all the churches that were fighting and infighting about whether or not to have services or whether or not they could still be open. And I still remember Brother Spell getting arrested. I still remember that. And I know he won his court case and the state was found at fault. I'm so thankful he did that because that sets a major precedent. But like, dude, I still remember that when it was possible to have police show up and be like, hey, yeah, you guys can't really gather because we're trying to stop COVID, or you had to stay in your cars and whatnot. That was one of the weirdest times because people voluntarily again gave up freedoms that were theirs and were never up for debate. Watching people get arrested because they were out on the beach alone surfing or in the park alone, and you have cops show up and bully them and arrest them and take them away. Like now you've exposed your officers to this because one person was off doing their thing. It was nuts, man. I think honestly, I used to be very much back the blue, you know? I used to be very much just like support the police, and there in my mind I was like, because in the ER I worked with like a group of police officers, they would come in and help us and whatnot. So I grew to really appreciate those guys, and I was like, hey, it's good to see y'all again. At a point, I was really thinking about going to academy. And I think it was during COVID. During COVID, and then George Floyd happened. And I disagree with what happened with those officers, because there's a lot of stuff that was there was a lot of stuff that played into that event. Same with the Ahmaud Arbery stuff. But like watching the governmental overreach, watching cops overreach, like just fully overreach, watching governors and in the federal level as well just overreach and demand and legislate. It really did wake up a lot of people, myself included. When you find out that you don't have to drive 30 minutes to work actually for your job, you can work from home and you're actually way more productive, studies find. But there's not the ego involved. Um, yeah, man. I had forgotten about just how everything was locked down. I remember that because it was quote unquote 2 weeks to flatten the curve. And all it did was make the wave worse, man. It really did, because the 2 weeks turned into 2 years. And I sit there and I'm thinking about, I remember when it was happening, there was like a few weeks where the ER was just like dead, like completely dead. Some nights we might get like 3 patients all night because everybody was so scared of going to the medical facilities and getting COVID, because it seemed like a death sentence. For some people, it was. But, dude, when I tell you that when it hit so hard. We had patient numbers. We had patient numbers that were just blowing my mind. And you walked into work knowing it was going to be bonkers. Like, you already knew it was going to be bonkers. You already knew people were probably going to have 6-7 hour waits. And you had to wait to get rooms clean, because the rooms had to not just be clean, they had to be sanitized between each person. But there was just so much craziness going on. There was so much craziness going on. Our hospital shifted, and I think it pivoted pretty good. But then the politics came. The politics of the hospital came. I remember for us techs, they were going to be paying us a lesser rate than the nurses for working in COVID areas. And, ooh, thank you. it wasn't, thank you.
It is so hot.
It wasn't because of anything other than they value nurses more than techs. I still remember because nurses, they were getting like, I think it was 10 or 15 an hour per COVID patient that they had under their name. And the techs that would be sent in to actually take care of the patient, we were going to get like an extra 7 per patient. And a lot of the techs, we got really, really upset because we were like, that is not cool. Because you just told all of your lower level staff, yeah, your life isn't as important. You're not worth as much to us. So some people quit. And I tell you what, I got to meet see some of the people again who quit because, well, stuff. And they told me, they're like, yeah, I left the hospital making, $12 or $13 an hour. Now I'm making 18. Now I'm making 20 traveling. And it's like, it's crazy. The hospitals had the money all along. They had the money for staff. They had the money for the things that needed done. The grants were there. At least some of the grants were there. But now the administration's changed, and I hope things have gotten better for the people there. But like, it was wild, man. Yeah, the no funeral services thing was also really nuts. We had church services in where I was in St. Robert at a certain point, but we had to have like our masks, our bandanas, or what have you. And I remember, I'll send you photos because that's actually, I don't know if I have the photos anymore. When I played that PRS, that's the guitar I played out at that service. And I remember I had my 412 cab, that PRS guitar, and the drum kit that I have right here. Took that out, and Josh played drums. And I remember, since people couldn't clap since they were in their cars, they would honk their car horns to say amen or clap with what the preacher was saying, because as Pentecostals, we can't be silent. I think it breaks our brain to be silent. There's a lot of stuff that happened, man. Oh, you guys had drive-in services too? You say it was a disaster, but thank you. That is so good.
Absolutely. I didn't even try mine.
It's so good. I almost want to put either vanilla ice cream or peanut butter and vanilla ice cream on there. It's so good. Bro, talking about this now is just unlocking so many memories I haven't thought about in so long. Dude, I still remember those were some of the loneliest months. Oh my. Those were some of the loneliest months, but some of the best months for travel, like long distance travel, because the roads were empty. It was so weird. So, like, working at the hospital, we talked about how it was so weird. People, they couldn't go to work, but they were getting like $800 a week. And that was more than a lot of us were making. And we were like, bro, we should just go and get some of that. I don't think anybody did. I don't think anybody did from where I worked. We talked about it. We uh we felt a little gypped. And I looked at my 401k before Case and I got married. I looked at it and I saw the effects of those like two or three stimulus checks to everybody. Because, dude, that 401k took such a hit. It took such a hit these past 2 years. Not everything's money. But I tell you what, money is an interesting thermometer. You can use it as a thermometer on people, on countries, and it can tell you a lot. If people love money, what they'll do for money, it can give you a pretty good indication on their heart and their character. But like, it also gives you an indication about how the economy and stuff is doing, whether or not people are saving or hoarding or what have you. Mm-hmm. Dude, I was part of the people that was straight up laughing along with the memes. And it was like, oh, it's happening over there. Aha, aha, aha. And then it hit stateside and I started watching people die. It was like, okay, this sucks. This is a good chewy brownie. I like it.
I guess I should probably try mine now.
You know, I think one of the biggest lessons I learned from that is never trust your government when the government has the ability to absolutely annihilate you. And then the second, prepare yourself mentally, physically, emotionally. Just prepare yourself for if you have to go and survive. If everything shuts down, if everything is closed off. Making sure you have a way to take care of everything. Or if you're traveling and for some reason you hit Summer of Love riots, because that sure was a thing. Knowing what to do in those situations, having ways to protect yourself. Those were really wild years. Dude, that sucks. Caleb was saying it sucked because he and Cameron had just started dating a year earlier and they couldn't celebrate their first anniversary like they planned because of COVID. Like when COVID and stuff was kicking off. So I'm taking a preemptive guess. Caleb, do you remember Pillar, the Christian music band, Christian band? It looks like they're going to be back together, like the Golden Era lineup. If they are, that's going to be nuts, man. So I still remember when As I Lay Dying came back as a band, and the music was so good. And it's kind of sad that it all fell apart again, but like, it is what it is. Tim Lambesis he's still an amazing vocalist. His new music, it sounds like less powerful As I Lay Dying. Like it sounds like As I Lay Dying without some of the soul. But like, if Pillar gets back together, I really, really hope that they can stick it out long term, however long that is. Yes. Correct, sir. I think the past 6 months have showed a lot of people that the government is not for the people anymore. It was by the people, but it's not for the people anymore. It's for the special interests. It's for the agendas. It's for the people who can pay other people. It's for the ideologues. And it's for the quote unquote elites who will do their best to rule down and hope that the peasants have a wonderful life as they serve their betters. That's one view. I think it's a little bit more nuanced. I think it is. There are people who have hijacked what was made a long time ago. I think there are three-letter agencies that have caused a lot of damage over the years because some people's decisions didn't line up with their agenda. I think there are many people who, if they start digging in the past a little bit, you start seeing what the government was doing years and years and years ago, how they were experimenting on people without people's knowledge or consent. Last time I checked, that's illegal for anybody else to do that. It's illegal to put chemicals in a subway station to see how spread would work if an actual virus got let loose in the subway station, only to find out that the chemicals they put in the subway station were actually harmful. If anybody else did anything remotely similar to that, they would be in jail for a very long time. I heard somebody say this once, and it's so true. They said nothing is illegal if you can pay for it. That speeding ticket is just your check at the restaurant. If you have enough money and they drop you a $500 speeding ticket, you have 20 million in the bank. You're like, yeah, here's your $500. Zoom. If you have enough money and you so happen to know a pedophile that lives on an island and you're part of the people that can pay, well, guess what? You get to go away where people can't see you. But guess what? They actually could be seen. And now they're worried about being blackmailed. And you can do things that are totally immoral and illegal. And then when that guy goes to jail, you help him bump himself off. Like, I think about some of this, man, and there is no legal basis for some of the legislation that's been done because a lot of it's not voted on. A lot of it's bureaucracy. A lot of it is you have to do this because we said. And since you didn't do what we said, now we're going to take our own branch and we're going to arrest you and put you in jail because you didn't bow down and you didn't kiss my butt. It's literally how some of this is, and it's absurd because it's not legal. It's not ethical. It is totally in the face of the Constitution. But what's crazy is we're actually winning slowly but surely as more court cases and stuff come out and are done. We're slowly winning. We're getting back more rights. More states are starting to lean more towards the Constitution because I hate to say it, it's probably going to get to a point where there's going to be a separation where the feds are going to try to reach in and say, states, you have to align with our will or else. And the states are going to say, screw you. This is not the law of the land. The Constitution is the law of the land, and you can go suck it. Like I honestly think we are probably just a couple years away from that if things don't change. Next year is going to be insane, Lord willing. If the Lord tarries, we're already in, election season. People are already primarying. Next year's going to get nuts, and it's going to be so dangerous. It's going to be so dangerous because people have showed their butts. They show that they're willing to bypass the law and do what they can to reinterpret the law so that it best suits their purposes. And now, three-letter agencies like ATF, like FBI, like CIA, like NSA, they've all showed that they're not for the people. They've showed that they're bullies. They've showed that they're cowardly. Um, they've shown that they don't care. Not referring to everybody in that agency, but just as a whole. The look of the agencies are they do not care about the American people. They look like the hatchet men of the left. They look like the hatchet men of whoever suits their interests in the moment. So when eventually, it's like Tim Pool says, eventually when they pull up to some small town and they say, hey, we're this branch and we're doing this, you guys need to do this because we say so. People are going to look at them and be like, yeah, you don't have any jurisdiction here. Get out. When our country has fallen apart to that point, um, I'm not worried so much about a Chinese invasion or a Russian invasion. I don't think that's the plan because it's way easier to let your enemy fight itself and not get involved and wait till your enemy's like super weak, because in the midst of all that infighting, if there was invasion, that's unifying. That brings people together. So I'm not so much looking about that or looking towards that. We already have invasion and incursion in our southern border. That's not what I'm referring to. I think honestly, the long term play is going to be trying to bring about an economical collapse before another country does. So China is probably going to try to collapse America economically before China goes under. Because if they can do that, then there's resources and there's opportunity. I don't know about Russia so much. Russia is also not very stable. Um, with Putin having cardiac arrest, and thankfully they were able to get him back. That would send, if he wasn't there, that would send Russia into a weird spiral. It would be a very odd spiral. But there's so many two-bit dictators around the world already, and men who have egos that can't even be measured by anybody else other than God. So I think honestly what's going to happen is people are just going to be so stinking tired of it all that when the Antichrist does come and show up on the scene, people are going to accept him with open arms. People are going to be very ready for a change, for some sort of new system. It's going to have to get really, really bad for that. And unfortunately, I think a lot of people will die. But it's stuff that the Bible's talked about and it's been prophesied about for hundreds of years, thousands of years. Happy topic. So have you seen the new Reese's? I think it's Reese's and Kit Kat combo. I want to make sure I'm getting this right because it was Reese's and there was something new about them. It may not be Kit Kat. Let me get my facts straight. There's plant-based Reese's.
Mm-hmm.
What? Reese's snack cake? What? They have the Reese's with Reese's Puffs. Oh, dude. Caleb says, hey, Cameron's grandma made me a jar of homemade apple butter and a jar of blackberry jam.
Blackberry jam is my jam. I love blackberry, but I like the seeds in it. Like, I love blackberry pie, but I like for the seeds to be in there. It's so good. I like the texture. I like to chew on them.
Hey, I don't fault you for that.
It's kind of like when you have a toothpick after dinner. That's what it feels like.
Odd, but I'll allow. Odd, but yes. You know what's crazy now, man, is that there is such a push now. Facebook has it. Google just did it to me. There is such a push for AI assistance.
Yeah, there's like weird AI chat bots that I have the option to chat with on my messenger. When I hit the search bar up top, it gives like a selection. It's weird.
I already know. I've been listening again. People like Tim Pool and others. They already said where the AI stuff is gonna go, and I'm like, yep, I agree 1,000%. They already have made the pod where it is a bed that you can sleep in, and your room barely fits the mattress, and that is your room. I think it might have a bathroom if you're lucky, but that's probably right next to the door because you won't need anything else. You'll just have on your visor. There probably won't be too very many people that are married, so you'll put on your visor, you'll go to the metaverse, say hi to your friends, or you'll dial up the local adult services on your VR and you will spend your off days not being productive because the virtual reality will feel better than the actual reality. Hey, Mom, how are you guys doing? Your mom says, hi, Nana, or hi, Nana, Harold, Lena, and I are all watching from our large TV in front room. It's so good to have you guys. Right now, we're trying to find the new Reese's because I could have sworn there was a new one that got launched, and I thought it was Reese's and Kit Kat, but it may not be. They have a 25 count pack. And it's $6.
That is something.
It's $6. Okay, so you know how you go to Walmart, you pick up a bag of Reese's, right, at the store, and it's normally like $8, $9 at the store. On Hershey's.com, the Reese's Milk Chocolate Peanut Butter Cup miniatures, it's the 12.5 ounce candy bag, is $6. The Thins Dark Chocolate Peanut Butter Cups, $6, but it's 7.37 ounces.
But what about like shipping and handling, etc.?
Free shipping with $50 purchase. So all you have to do is pick up like 3 of the Reese's World Largest Peanut Butter Cups. They're 1 pound. They're $17. This is nuts. You can pick up the regular candy bars and stuff for $1 online. That blows away what you find at store because it's like $3 at the store. You know, that makes me sad. That makes me sad. Oh, excuse me. I do kind of remember that, Caleb. That worship song that was just a wee bit off. It was like, Bro, you had better return that jar so you can get some more jam. I have not. Is that you said Gin-Gins? I have not had that before.
What?
Caleb was asking, have we had Gin-Gins?
What is
I have no
what is that?
I have no idea what that is.
It sounds alcoholic.
Bro, if I get rickrolled. Gin hard candy. I have not. It's just chewy ginger candy.
Huh. I would probably like that.
They have so many flavors. They even have anti-nausea and digestion aid.
Oh, I need that.
What's up, G? Oh man, dude. About that. I gave directions and I ran away, and it's my fault for not going back and getting you. I'm sorry that a creeper went into your house and blew up your chest with all your goodies in there. Oh man. Okay, so have you guys had Tate's cookies? Those things are so good. I don't remember if I. He says it's okay. He'll take Casey's stuff.
No.
So if you've never had Tate's, it's now owned by somebody else. I forgot who bought this guy's shop, but all these were homemade, and they were doing really, really well. So they got bought out. But Tate's cookies are so good. They're some of the best cookies. I bought the chocolate chip. I think I sent those to a friend. They really like those. And then they showed me what is that? What is the chocolate that people buy a lot of? It's not Rochelle.
Rocher?
That one.
The truffles? Or the
So-
Lind, the Lind chocolates.
It may be Lind.
Those
It
are
may be
so
Lind.
good.
So they showed me a different one, and it was
Is it Ghirardelli chocolates? Is that how you say that?
no, I think it was Ferrero Rocher. So the internet's gonna think that I'm in trouble since I'm looking up chocolate. They're gonna be like, oh, he fought with his wife. These guys, if you've never had them before, they are so good. But it's Ferrero Raffaello. They sent me so many packs of this, but it is like white chocolate with coconut and almonds, and it's like a smooth center. It's so good.
You totally lost me.
Your brother said, is it Slappy's chocolate? I don't know, man. Does Slappy's make chocolate too? I'd be kind of scared.
Slappy's is a jack of all trades to make anything.
Oh my goodness. Now I just want to sit here and look at chocolate because how can you go wrong with chocolate? It's so delicious.
Do you want the rest of my brownie?
Yes. Screw the diet. Thank you. So, Caleb, I gotta ask, do you know your girl's, do you know Cameron's favorite chocolate or favorite sweet? Because if you do not know it, man, that is one of the most important things to learn. Because I can't tell you how many times in dating, when Case would be having a bad day, it's just like, hey, here's this. And then she gets that big smile on her face. For her.
Except I'm a dweeb and I like my favorite candy is Fruity Mentos.
Mm-hmm. She loves that. She loves Sour Patch Kids. But I know her real favorite food. If ever you really want Casey to just have an amazing day, just cook her steak. She loves steak. Or give her a bag of deer jerky. Your brother says she has the same response if you buy her Play-Doh.
Yes! I'll eat that too.
Oh, man. Caleb says it was weird, though, because she wasn't allowed chocolate because of kidney stones. Dude, kidney stones really do stink. They absolutely suck.
They'll make you throw up.
Mm-hmm. He says spinach and cheese toasted ravioli does the trick for her. Dude. Toasted ravioli is one of those things that should not be as expensive as it is. It's probably because I see it mostly at like Emos. Emos should not be as expensive as it is.
I don't like Emos.
It's weird. It's like here you have a good with pizza, but then you pay like $30.
Yeah, like Emos was like so hyped up, and when we actually tried it, It was so bland. And like the pizza sauce, it was literally like they just dumped a can of tomato sauce. Like nothing spiced about it. Nothing. It wasn't seasoned. It was just like a can of tomato sauce on the pizza, and it was just like everything was just so unimpressive. I don't know how to express like how disappointed I was.
Caleb said it. He said Emo's is cardboard with fake cheese.
Yeah.
Dude, I have eaten there twice, maybe. It was not the best by any means. By any means. Yeah, that's pretty much it, G. Do you guys remember how Domino's used to kind of be like that too, though? Domino's was like very just bland. It was like cardboard. And then when they revamped their recipes, Caleb says, I've been told to leave St. Louis over my feelings on Emo's, LOL. I remember when they changed their recipe, it was so good. I used to order it in at the hospital so much. I would get back when they had their 2 medium items for $5.99 each, or you could do 2 or more for, $5.99 each. I would get like 2 or 3 medium pizzas. One would be a pepperoni. One would be a medium pizza with garlic Parmesan sauce with regular cheese and hamburger because it made it like garlic bread. It was so good. What's MOD pizza, man? I'm looking this up. I have not heard of this. Have you heard of this? MOD pizza?
Mod pizza?
Yeah.
I think I've heard of it 1 or 2 times. I don't really remember.
Yeah, man, I've never had mod pizza. Oh, bro. Hey, at least you got a pizza for a controller. That's not a bad trade. Unless the controller's like $70. What? Mods. Okay. I have never been there. We might have to go pay a visit. I don't know, G. I hear Slappy's pizza's a little questionable.
I had them twice, and it just tastes like they just dropped their pizza on the floor. I will never go back.
Of course you like Freddy's Pizzeria, Caleb. Freddy Fazbear. I think Papa John's is my favorite pizza. Just thinking. I like Domino's. Domino's is really good. Even though they've gotten more expensive, Domino's is pretty good. But Papa John's for me is where it's at. it's expensive. Again, it's not always the best in everything by any means. But I'm pretty basic. I'm like pepperoni pizza, extra cheese. That's it. And the cheese Papa John's uses, yeah, the cheese Papa John's uses, the sauce that they use, their crust is bland, but you can take some garlic butter at home and like ghetto the pizza up and make it really good. There is something about that. That was like the treat when I was growing up as a kid. My parents would order Papa John's. The new VeggieTales movie would be out, so we'd all go to the den, sit down on the floor with our 2 pieces of pizza, and we'd sit there and just watch like Jonah the VeggieTales movie. We do have Casey's here in Rolla. We have 3 Casey's.
I think we have 2.
2 Casey's. There's one on McCutcheon. There's one on 72. Yeah, we just have the 2 that I remember. And their pizzas are good when they're fresh. Last time we went to Casey's for pizza, I looked at the best served by time, and it was 1 or 2 o'clock, and the pizzas were best served by around, it was either
It was-
12:30 or 12:50.
It was like noonish.
Yeah, it was like 12 o'clock, and
It's not like that bad, but like it wasn't that long ago, but they just did not look like they aged well.
when the pizza is sitting under the heat lamp and it looks like it needs Gold Bond moisturizing cream, it's probably an indicator. Casey's is good though. Again, it's expensive for what it is.
They
It's-
used to have macaroni and cheese pizza. And it was pretty good. It was pretty good.
macaroni and cheese is one of those things where it's like, see, that's the play, Mom. Your mom says she buys Casey's bacon pizza slice for breakfast most mornings.
Oh yeah.
That really is the play.
Their breakfast pizza is good.
Caleb, Cece's Pizza. I would take Chuck E. Cheese pizza over Cece's. Chuck E. Cheese, I remember being a little bit better than Cece's. Yeah, I know it's a pizza buffet, but it's like, again, when you pick up a slice and it feels manufactured in a factory, it's like, it's pizza.
Cece's pizza, like from what I remember, because I only went to one time, it feels like you're getting like a thin crust frozen pizza.
Mhm. It wasn't bad. It was pizza. It was not bad. Pizza Ranch, same way. Mom, if you've not done it yet, you should pick up the Taco Bell avocado ranch sauce that they sell at Walmart. It will change your life.
We bought a bottle and we pretty much drank it. It's almost gone.
Mhm.
It's so good.
As you can tell, it's so good.
It's creamy avocado ranch.
Caleb says last time they went to Cece's, all 3 of us kids got a stomach bug. Or no, pizza buffet. You guys went to Cece's or you guys went to a place called Pizza Buffet? Because there's some weirdly named pizza places out there. My thing is, it was Cece's, okay. Do you guys remember Godfather's Pizza?
Mm-hmm.
There's one that's like an hour and a half away from us.
Mom's probably typing in the story as we speak, but like where we used to live, they had a grand opening for Godfather's Pizza, and the Godfather guy on the commercial, I can't remember his name. He was there for the grand opening, and I was terrified of him.
They had a mascot?
Yeah.
What? The Godfather. Oh, him.
Yep.
With that mustache, I can understand why.
I feel like from what I remember, I hid behind Mom. I always hid behind my mama.
Oh, no.
Are those all the locations that have left?
Godfather's locations by state: California, Iowa, Kentucky, Nebraska, Nevada.
They only have one in California, one in Iowa, one in Kentucky, one in Nebraska, one in Nevada. And how many? 4
In Oregon.
in
That
Oregon.
can't be right. Because there was one I saw out and about recently. That may be corporate Godfather locations, but I wonder if they franchise.
That does not seem accurate, no.
How many Godfathers? There are a total of 580 Godfathers locations. That was 2 years ago that was up. Oh my. Oh my. That's nuts. G says Nana likes the Chick-fil-A sauce. She drinks it straight from the bottle. Just kidding. You were right. Your mom said you beat her to it. Caleb says so many guys at my church work for Chick-fil-A. Dude, that's apparently the place to work. I mean, if you're going to be dramatic, I don't think it's going to be at Chick-fil-A. Ain't got time for drama when you got to bless the sauce every 30 minutes. Your mom says you guys got autographs?
Mm-hmm.
Bro, Caleb, we don't have a Whataburger here in Rolla. There's one, if I remember correctly, coming to Springfield. There's a Buc-ee's, I think, coming to Springfield too. Whataburger is not as good as In-N-Out. I am team In-N-Out when it comes to that rivalry. In-N-Out is just so fresh. It's so good. Your mom says, I have a picture of Casey when she was 1-year-old with Hamburger at Hamburglar.
I showed him that
stream.
picture.
Yep. Mm-hmm. See, Whataburger's not bad. I had their banana cream, or not banana cream, their banana pudding shake. That was so good. Bro, that's the issue is you had it in Alabama. It was so good. Like their food is pretty good. But then I met my friend at In-N-Out when I was down in Dallas, and we went there right as they were opening up, like in the morning. Right as they were opening up, we went in. I think we were one of the first few customers. And I got to sit there and watch them cut the vegetables for the day, cut the lettuce, cut the onion, fry the meat. All that was just like so fresh. And then they put on their special sauce on the burger. It was so good. I didn't have to, but I ordered a second one because, like, bro, it was that good. I've never experienced that from a Whataburger, but In-N-Out, I would take In-N-Out all day long. Your mom says there's a Whataburger in Independence and in Gladstone here. Nice. Dude, that is awesome. If you can become a corporate Chick-fil-A person, more power to you. It was so cool seeing a lot of restaurants, even like low skill places like McDonald's and Taco Bell, where they would help you pay for your college and stuff so you didn't have to stay there. That was actually really, really cool to see. When I worked for Taco Bell, they would pay for part of your college or whatnot. I never looked into that. Um, College didn't really appeal to me. The only thing that really has appealed to me about college has been going and learning creative writing or audio production, stuff like that. But like around here, I don't think there is very much of that, if any. So uh, a lot of the knowledge that you get, you have to get from people that have done it uh, around here, which I learned. There used to be a music studio here in Rolla, and the guy I know, he was the one who owned it, and he told me about what that was like and some of the hardships of that. And I tell you what, it's kind of crazy. I think ever since like we've stepped away from going to like malls and stuff to shop, because like that used to be such a big deal as on Saturday, we have a big family trip to the mall because you already know you're going to get food somewhere, probably twice going and coming, because the mall was always like an hour away, 2 hours away, at least for us. For people that live close by, they were lucky. But, you were probably going to get some food from the food court. You're probably going to get some food on the way back home. As a kid, I wasn't really thinking about how much that was costing my parents. I was just like, food! Sabaro's Pizza. But I think with the stepping away from like mall culture where you go in and you see stuff to everything being online, it makes businesses like physical studios a little bit harder for just the average Joe because like if you don't know what you're walking into, if you don't know what to expect, then it might be a little off-putting because you hear, "Oh, it's so cost prohibitive, it's so this, it's so that," and, you're not really there. But then again, it's up to the business owner to put all that out so people can see it in public. G, have a wonderful night, sir. I'm assuming you're working. Be safe. Have a great, great night. Come grab a brownie.
Love you.
Casey made brownie, so come grab one. And there might be a surprise for you in the Minecraft world when you get back. Caleb says he hated the mall. His mom looked at everything. I just had one shop I wanted, and that was it. Living by the mall and Jeff sucked because of that. Dude, I had one problem with the mall, and that was I hated the malls that had Abercrombie and Fitch and Victoria's Secrets in the malls. I hated those stores with a passion. I'm sitting here thinking even now, and I'm like, there's not really that is where you go when you're going to break up with the person you're with. Um, Caleb says, plus I broke my arm at their kids area. One of the other times you broke your arm. Nice. Like as a kid, I remember you'd see GameStop, you would see Hibbits, you would see maybe a Lego store, you would see uh, you would see the shoe stores, you'd see sometimes boutique stuff. Um, you would see maybe like an arts and crafts kind of place. And I feel like the market was very viable for those sorts of places to survive. Because, when you're young, what do you do when you and your friends can drive, or your first friend can drive? You guys go to the mall. At least back in the day, you go to the mall and you hang and you spend the $40 you got that week. Dude, old Hot Topic. Scary Hot Topic. Oh, man. I think I've been inside Hot Topic just a couple of times because when I was a little kid with my parents, that's one of those places that we didn't go. Now that I'm a fully grown adult metalhead, yeah, you'll probably find me in one. Just checking out the Funko Pops. The other spot, telling on myself a little bit. We were out for a youth congress. It was the youth congress. I believe that was in Oklahoma. I think that was the one. Or it may have been a convention that was in St. Charles. Anyways, my group, we went to the mall. And I'm walking with my friends, we're just walking through. I look over, and if you know me, I love top hats. And I look over and I see top hats on this display window. And I was so stoked. I was like, yes, getting ready to run in the store. And my friend Jeff is like, whoa, don't go. We don't go in that store. I'm like, what? And I look. It was a Spencer's.
Them stores is so bad.
I would. Caleb already said, don't go Spencer's. Bro, I did not know what that store was for the longest time. I just saw a top hat and I wanted top hats. So this was before I bought mine online. I'm like, sweet, I can go in there and, oh, who knows? Maybe God would have used that so I could have reached somebody in there. But I'm thankful for Jeff for keeping me from running inside Spencer's. Caleb said I went once. I was never the same. I hear the stories, man.
That's like
I hear the stories.
That's like saying maybe God would send me into a strip club so I could win.
I've heard stranger things. You said that. There's actually, it's crazy. There is a group of women who are former hookers that formed an actual group. They're called Hookers for Jesus.
I know it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. That's Annie Lobert.
Yep. And they go and they talk to the women and pray for them and all that stuff.
She has, I think, an IAM's second interview.
Bro, I think that's just the idea of several people in church is to date whoever so that they can quote unquote come to God. The whole flirt to convert thing. I've learned that does not work very well. It really does not work very well. Flirting to convert sometimes works. I have a friend whose sister-in-law came into church and stuff because her brother, was flirting and converting. But that's like the only story I know of from the top of my head. Dude, Case and I were talking about double standards earlier. We were talking about how it's crazy sometimes how the things that we're told, when you grow up. For example, my family was raised so that every time Sunday, Wednesday, whatever church service, you needed to dress your best. You needed to dress up. You need to be, in your best suit, best tie, go to church. And when my family started doing this was before Josh and I were born. my family started doing this with my oldest brother and my sister. She's the oldest. And everybody else was going to the church they were attending. They were pretty much like just wearing basketball jerseys and stuff. And what's funny is my brother Jonathan likes wearing suits. I do too. Like he likes dressing up. I really do too. Um, but what's funny is when you dress nice, you're dressing nice for God, but then the ladies notice. And the ladies are like, huh, we like a guy in a suit versus a basketball jersey. So, um, needless to say, some time passed, and then all the young guys started wearing suits. It's like, huh. But like going back to the double standards thing is like, you know, the easiest example I can point to is Sunday night, Sunday morning, Sunday night, you needed to wear like dress shirt, suit, that sort of stuff because we're going to church. Wednesday, you could wear like khakis, polo, iron t shirt, what have you, because it was Wednesday. That is one of the most simplest double standards I think I can point to without going into a whole lot of detail because, like, the difference between Sunday and Wednesday's just tradition. They're both church services. One is not as gussied up as the other, but they're still both church services. One of the other double standards I can point to is my family. We did not grow up watching Harry Potter. We grew up, and my family was very much no witchcraft, like no witchcraft, no Harry Potter, no like Kiki's special delivery, no like if it felt weird, if somebody was getting their energy from some sort of something, or they could pull energy from the atmosphere, and then there was like dark energy or whatnot. My parents were like, nope, none of that. But my one of my parents was totally fine with Lord of the Rings. Yep, 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 Cameron. Or not Cameron. Yep, Caleb. No Harry Potter, but Cinderella and Rafiki from Lion King was okay. Yeah, so Lord of the Rings was okay. Star Wars was off and on okay. There's some history there, but it was off and on okay. And the Redwall series was okay, even though there's a ghost of a mouse that goes and talks to the people to best protect the abbey that they live in. My parents are like, that's fine. Those are good stories. Bro. So, fun fact, Star Wars gets into some really weird Eastern like stuff. It's very the religious aspects of Star Wars go extremely deep. And as multiple writers, I think, have put their hands on it, they've made it even more convoluted. Because it used to be back when I'd go on StarWars.com to watch the new episode of the Clone Wars, people would sit there and comment, well, Jesus is the Force, God is the Force, and da da da. And I remember those comments, and like, I see what as I dug deeper, more of what the Force was. I'm like, that's not Jesus. Ain't no way that's Jesus. Um, the lore, like you said, the lore of Star Wars and the religions of Star Wars are so dark. Um, it gets really, really messed up really, really quickly. But it was easy to get caught up in the fights and the lightsaber duels and the clones and like the political struggles and everything else going on with people because you were like, It was such good storytelling. But yeah, Harry Potter was not okay, but Star Wars was okay. Even though Harry Potter is a straight ripoff of Star Wars. Caleb, that hits too deep. You got to take that back. He says, "Isn't it funny how we slap Jesus on things we want to claim as ours because we don't want to dig deeper?" Dude, you can't be doing stuff like that. That's too much thinking. You're supposed to just, if it feels good, do it. At least that's the modern church theology. If it feels good, it must be good. Okay, Andy Minio. When I grew up, my parents, they wanted to err on the side of caution, and I'm so glad they did, because there's a lot of stuff that my friends got exposed to, and stuff happened to my friends that honestly, kids make their choices, but I got to see some of how some of my friends were treated by their parents, and I'm really thankful for the parents that I have. They were really, really good to me. But you know, that's the thing is one day, Lord willing, I'm gonna be a parent. Um, one day, and like I've learned, it took me, I think about 2 years ago is when it started clicking. I'm like, you know what? Every single group of parents, the only thing that they can do is try their best because they're not going to get it right all the time. They're not going to be in the right all the time. They just got to do what they think is best in the moment. And that takes a lot of education, that takes a lot of experience, that takes a lot of trust, that takes a lot of learning. It takes a lot of grace. I think the hard part people have though with their parents is you're sometimes you're expected to give the parents grace when you were a kid you may not have gotten the same courtesy. Um, that's the hard part. Dude, same. So the thing for me was uh, Christian music, Christian movies, um, and again, Star Wars, prime example of that. If my parents learned something new, something dark, they were like, mm. But like for us, if Josh and I went to Lifeway back when that was a thing, we went to Lifeway and we went to pick up a new CD. My parents would go in one breath from saying, "The money you have is your money, and as long as it's legal, ethical, and moral, you can do what you want to with it," to saying, "No, you cannot buy that product from a Christian store because I do not want you to have said product." Prime example is the band Red. I still really like that band. And I was getting ready to buy the album Until We Have Faces from Lifeway because my brother had that album. I really liked it. I was going to buy that album, and my mom was like, "Nope." I think the other one was I was going to buy Disciples' Scars Remain album. And my parents were like, my mom was like, "Nope." And I was like, man, I remember I was so ticked as a kid. I used to have a really bad temper. I was so ticked as a kid. I just set it down, stormed off quietly, and like, yeah, I it was a while I think before I said anything to my parents because I was a little peeved. Caleb said for me it was a bad movie unless you liked it. I don't look at this. Just don't look at the screen. But then this movie was bad because they kissed, but also because she hated the actor. Ah. See, that's taking me back to some of the movies that we used to watch um, as a family, and those kissing scenes and stuff. My parents would try to shield us from that some, but like it all depended on the movie and the character plot, I think. So like obviously we weren't allowed like teenage movies. Thank God. Cuz some of those are just horn fests. But like I still remember we would we'd be watching the movie and I can still picture the way my mom said this, but oh no. When something would pop up unexpected, just be like, oh no. Pause, fast forward, fast forward. Thank you for helping me remember that because I haven't thought about that in a hot second. Oh man. Yeah, it was weird. So like Josh and I, we could listen to those same bands that they didn't want us to buy at home on the computer. We could listen to those bands, listen to those songs, but we couldn't buy the CD. It was so odd. I still remember that there was a while where I wanted to pick up a pocket knife, and my dad, he at the time he was like, "I really don't want, um, I really don't want you to have one right now." And I remember I was so sad because like I knew my dad didn't want me to buy a pocket knife. Then the day came, I bought a pocket knife. It was a uh, firefighter logo on it, and I was so proud of that thing. But even then, before that, I picked up a couple. They were like super cheap. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Is like I'm not sure what the fear is with with that. So like if you teach your kids safety, if you teach your kids responsibility around weapons and tools, then they kind of grow up more used to it and less scared. Because I remember after I bought my first gun, um, I remember after I bought my first gun, there was such, even though I was older, there was such a hesitancy there because I wasn't around that kind of gun before. Like I wasn't around it, exposed to it, so it still felt really weird. It felt really dangerous because it is. It is dangerous. But it's a different feeling than just the weight of responsibility versus the fear of unknown. Um, yeah, Caleb, I ended up sneaking a few things, I think, myself. But I tried to be honest. I tried to be. When I picked up a beautiful, beautiful shotgun, I remember when I brought it inside the house, and most of the time, the weapons went to a very secure location and it was under my parents' control when they came out and what happened with them, pretty much. But when I plopped down my $500 and I picked up this shotgun and I took it to my room and I bought a case for it and I bought accessories for it and it was cool. It was a it's kind of weird. It's that independence, and unfortunately, I started doing that way too late in life, and so a lot of the independence that I should have had as a teenager, a lot of the independence that I should have been reaching for, I was scared to because it everything had to go through parental check, parental consent, and if my parents thought it was okay, then it must be okay. Well, reality check. Sometimes your parents don't get it right. Yeah, man. That's how it is for one of my parents because so my mom, she hasn't really been around that kind of stuff. And so it makes her nervous to be around that sort of stuff. And all it takes is just it takes training. It takes teaching. It takes time. And then you start to learn. It's fun. It's great. You have to maintain, you have to be responsible. You have to watch out for what you're doing because these things can be dangerous. But it's great. I feel that, Caleb. I really do feel that. Well, guys, we've been going for about 2 hours, so I gotta give you guys the state of the. Caleb says, I handed her a 22 round and she thought it was going to blow up in her hand thanks to CSI New York. Okay, guys, we're going to give State of the Union. So, the shirts have officially been delivered to Mets Music. They are hanging up unless they've sold already. If they have not sold already, then there is a potential buyer going to pick one up tomorrow. I am very excited about that. Lord willing, going to be ordering a couple more once those are purchased, and we're going to see what designs do well, which designs don't. But yeah, the shirts are in Mets Music. They are available for people to buy. So the pricing I agreed to with Mr. Metz is each shirt is going to be about $24 for the t-shirt because that takes into account regular cost plus shipping is going to be more expensive than that. Sale price plus shipping is going to be around that. It's going to be around if you pick up a shirt for $15 or $14 rather, and the shipping is $5, then it puts you underneath. If the shirts are on sale like they are now for $16.99 or $16.59 rather, it's going to be about $22 to $24, I think, after it is shipped. So we are really, really, really excited. The next shirt that we're going to order is going to be just the regular black shirt with the white logo. We're going to see if that one can sell because that one looks kind of like a band tee, and with the bands and local bands and stuff around here, it would be pretty cool to see it get picked up and rocked around. New songs hopefully coming out this week or next week. I was working on a short song today. They should. Let me check something. Caleb, there is a sale that is going on Threadless. They should be $16.95. on the sale. If you want to reply to that email from the Blood Wolf shop, reply to that email. We'll get you taken care of, okay? So, where is it going? Oh, yeah. So, gonna be getting some more shirts to replace those as they sell. Prayerfully, they sell quickly. Um, we are also going to be looking at other kinds of merch as well. We still have dog tags and stuff like that, but we need to get those printed. We need to get a few other things taken care of, and then we're still looking at what we need for the sublimation stuff. So all this is taking time, but it's gonna be worth it in the end. Um, New songs are going to be coming out again, hopefully this week or next week. I was working on a short song today. That should be done by end of week, and at least we'll have a short song going up this week. The full length song, I'm still working with this other musician, and I'm really excited for what you guys are going to hear. It's going to be so good when you guys hear it. I am talking with another individual, so hopefully we're going to be doing some collaboration efforts there as well. So you're going to hear a few different artists popping up on songs, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. Thank you to everybody who's been sharing and spreading the word um, about what's going on and sharing the posts and commenting. Even here on YouTube, thank you. The comments and the shares, they all help. Trying to think of what else is new. I think it's kind of just coasting around the same right now. Content may slow down a little bit here in these next few weeks as I am potentially going to be working a new spot. So content may slow down quite a bit, but we're going to keep doing lives. We're going to keep trying to get songs and stuff out to you guys on a regular basis. Yeah, just a lot happening. It's year end. I am hopefully going to try to get at least a classic Christmas song done, but I may be trying to get a Christmas song out here for the holiday season. If so, I'll try to get it out far enough so that people can pre-save and share all that and get ready for that. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be really, really good. Other than that, guys, I think that's State of the Union. But we've been going for about 2 hours and almost 10 minutes. I appreciate you guys coming and hanging. I'm probably going to go live again either Thursday or Friday and check in again then. The topic, I'm going to have to remember this when we get there. So there's going to be a couple topics probably going to talk about, and one of them is going to be nostalgia again. And yes, it's probably going to be about food. But probably going to go live Thursday or Friday. Keep an eye out for more instrumental music coming out. The last instrumental piece is doing okay. It seems to be picking up on views. And yeah, just thank you guys. Thank you guys for your support, for your kindness. Thank you. This really doesn't happen without you all. And I want to make sure that the products I make, are one, that they're good, but I want to make sure that it's first of all pleasing to God, but that also other people can listen to it and enjoy it. I think that's really important, that the entertainment we consume should have a purpose. It shouldn't just be to feel. That's okay sometimes, but you kind of burn out when it's nothing but fluff you consume. That's actually a really good topic, Caleb. Not what I was thinking, but that is a really good topic. We might have to start doing that at the end of the streams. Have people comment what they want the next stream to be about. We just might have to start doing that. So, guys, we're gonna sign off. Just remember, you matter. You're not junk. Jesus loves you. And Case, do you have some final words?
I'm tired.
You heard it here first, folks. Guys, have a wonderful night. I hope everybody has really good dreams. Be safe tonight. If anybody needs anything, just shoot me a message. You guys know where I am on Facebook and all that. Love you too, Mom. Harold, Nana.
Love you guys.
You guys have a great, great night. And may the coffee be strong in the morning, y'all. We'll see y'all shortly.